Oh, hello there. I'm Bilchan.
I'm Nimikung.
I'm Van Chan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chapter 4, Section 2 of Jane Eyre, an Autobiography.
As.
Ah.
Jane Eyre, an Autobiography. Charlotte Brontë. Chapter 4, Section 2. What a great nose. And what a mouth. Teeth. No sight so sad as that of a naughty child, he began. A naughty little girl. They go to hell was my ready and orthodox answer. And what is hell? And should you like to fall into that bit? No. I deliberated a moment. My answer, when it did come, was objectionable. I must keep in good health. Good health? Children younger than you die daily. Of 5 years old and a day or two since a good little child. So is now in heaven, not being in a condition to remove his doubt. And sighed, wishing myself far enough away from the heart. Benefactress, said I inwardly. They all call mice. We've my benefactress, if so, mourning. Continued my interrogator. Yes, with pleasure. I like revelations. Book of Daniel and Genesis and Samuel and a little bit of Exodus and some parts of Kings and Chronicles and the Psalms. Oh no, oh shocking, I have a little boy younger than you who knows 6 Psalms by heart. Would rather have learned, he says so. The verse of a Psalm. Psalms, says he, Psalms are not interesting. I remarked. Wicked heart, and you must pray to God to change it. You are a new and clean one. I was about to propound a question touching the manner in which that operation of change in my heart was to be performed, when my street interposed, telling me to sit. Dan proceeded to carry on the conversation herself, whereas to Brocklehurst. In the letter which I wrote to you 3 weeks ago, Gull has not quite the character and disposition I could wish her into Aloud's school requested. To keep a strict eye on her, and above all, guard against her worst fault, the tendency to deceit. We were hearing, Jane, that you may not attempt to impose on Mr. Well. Might I dread, or might I dislike Mice Reed was her nature to win me cruelly, never was I happy in her presence. However carefully I obeyed, however strenuously I strove to please her, efforts were still repulsed and repaid by such sentences as the above. And uttered before a stranger, the accusation cut me to the heart. Destined me to enter, I felt, feeling that she was saying aversion and unkindness on my future path, so myself transformed under Mr. Brocklehurst I into an artful, noxious child, and what could I do to remedy the injury? Nothing, indeed, thought I, as I struggled to repress a sob and hastily wiped away some tears. The impotent evidences of my anguish. Deceit is, indeed, a child said. Miss Brocklehurst, it is akin to falsehood, liars will have. The portion in the lake burning with fire and brimstone shall, however, be watched, Mice Reed, to be brought up in a manner suiting her prospects, continued my benefactress, be made useful, to be kept humble as for the vacations wool with. Your permission, your decisions are perfectly judicious, madam, returned Mr. Brocklehurst. Humility is a Christian grace, people Aloud I. Therefore, on its cultivation amongst them, the worldly sentiment of pride, and only the other day a pleasing proof of my success. My second daughter, Augusta, her mama to visit the school, and on her return she exclaimed, "Oh, the Obapa. How quiet and plain all those at Aloud look with their hair combed behind their ears and their long pinafores, little Holland pockets. Outside their frocks they are almost like poor people's children." They looked at my dress and Mama's things that I'd approve, return my street. Had I sought all England over, consistency my dear Mr. Brocklehurst, consistency, Madam, the first of Christian duties, with the establishment of Aloud, plain, fair, simple attire, unsophisticated accommodations, hardy and active habits, quite right. This child being raised as a pupil at Aloud, Madam, she shall be placed in that nursery of chosen plants. I will send her, then, as soon as possible. Mr. Brocklehurst, for I assure you, no doubt, Madam, you good morning. Week or two. My good friend, the Archdeacon, to leave him sooner. Expect a new girl, so that there will be no difficulty about receiving her. Goodbye, Mr. Brocklehurst. Remember me to mice. And Miss Brocklehurst. And to Augusta and Theodore I will. Madam, little girl, here is a book entitled The Child's Guide. Read it with prayer, that part containing an account of the awfully sudden death of Martha G. These was Mr. Cover, and having run for his carriage, he departed. Mice I well left the lawn. Some minutes passed in silence. She was sewing. I was watching her. Mice are 37 she was. A woman of robust frame, strong-limbed, not tall, and though stout, not obese, a somewhat large face, the underjaw being much developed and very solid. Her brow was low, her chin large and prominent, regular, under her light eyebrows glimmered an eye devoid of wreath, was dark and opaque, her hair nearly flaxen. A villainess never came near her, she was an insect. Whatever manager, her household and tenantry were thoroughly under her control, defied her authority and laughed it to scorn. She dressed well, a presence and port calculated to set off handsome attire. Sitting on a low stool, she yards from her armchair, I examined her figure, her features. The liar, warning. Why had just passed? What mice? To Mr. Brocklehurst, the whole tenor of their conversation was recent, roar, and stinging in my mind as I had heard it plainly. My Street looked up from her work. Her eye settled on mine, her fingers at the same time suspended their nimble movements. Room, return to the nursery was her mandate. What have struck her as offensive, for she spoke with extreme, the suppressed agitation. I got up, I went to the door, I came back again. I walked to the window across the room. Her speak I must. I had been trodden on severely and must turn. How? What strength had I to dart retaliation at my antagonist? I gathered my energies and launched a municipal sentence. I am not deceitful. If I were, I should say I loved you. I do not love you all except John Reed and this book about the liar, to you girl, Georgiana, for it is she who tells lies. Morris Reed tends to lay on her work inactive, to dwell freezingly on mine. What more have you to say? She asked, such as is ordinarily used to a child. That I of hers stirred every antipathy I had, shaking from head to foot. Excitement, I continued. I am glad you are no relation of mine. Will never call you, and again as long as I live. Fun to see you when I am grown up. Me how I liked you, and how you treated me. The very thought of you makes me sick. How dare you affirm that? How dare I, Reed? How dare I? The truth. You think I have no feelings, without one bit of love or kindness, but I cannot live so would have no pity, thrust me back into the red room, and locked me up there, though I was in agony. Though I cried out with distress, "Have mercy. Have mercy," made me suffer because your wicked boy struck me, knocked me down for. Athen would tell anybody who asks me questions this exact tale. "A good woman, you are bad, hard-hearted." This reply. My soul began to expand, to exalt a sense of freedom, of triumph I ever felt. An invisible bond had burst, and that I had struggled out into unhoped for liberty, not without cause. Was this sentiment? My Swede looked frightened, work had slipped. From her knee she was lifting up her hands, her soft end, fro, and even twisting her face as if she would cry. "Jane, you are under a mistake. What is the matter with you? Why do you tremble so violently?" "No, my wish." "For Jane, I assure you, not you. Wiste. Broccoli had a bad character, a deceitful disposition. Let everybody at Aloud know what you are. Jane thinks deceit is not my fault," I cried out in a savage voice. "But you are passionate, Jane, that you must allow, not your dear. I cannot lie down. Send me to school soon, mice." "Read, I will indeed send her to school soon," murmured mice. We'd sat overs, and gathering up her work, she abruptly quitted the apartment. I was left there alone when over the field had fought, and the first victory I had gained, the rug, where Mr. Brocklehurst had stood, solitude. First I smiled to myself and felt a late pleasure subsided in me as fast as did the accelerated throb of my pulses. A child cannot quarrel with its elders as I had done, its furious feelings and controlled play as I had given. Mind the pang of remorse and the chill of reaction, a rage of lie to teeth, a lie glancing, devouring, mind when I accused him in a my street, the same rage and blasted. After the flames are dead, condition when half an hour's silence and reflection had shown me the madness of my conduct, and the dreariness of my hated and hating position, tasted for the first time as a romantic wine is seemed, unswallowing, warm and racy, its after flavour, metallic and cording as if I had been poisoned. My street's pardon, but I knew instinct that was the way to make her repulse me with double scorn, thereby re-exciting every turbulent impulse of my nature. Then, that of first speaking, that of sombre indignation, I took a book home, Arabian Tales, and endeavoured to read. I could make no sense of the subject when thoughts swam always between me and the page I had usually found fascinating. I opened the glass door in the breakfast room. The shrubbery was quite still, black frost rain, and broken by sun or breeze. Through the grounds, covered my head and arms with the skirt of my frock, to walk in a part of the plantation which was quite sequestrated, found no pleasure in the side trees, the filling fir cones of autumn, where set leaves swept by past winds in heaps stiffened together. I leaned against a gate where no sheep were feeding, where the short grass was nipped and blanched. It was a very grey day. A most opaque sky canopied all, and flakes fell at intervals. And on the hoary without melting, I stood where child enough, whispering to myself over and over again, clear voice call, "Miss Jane, where are you?" It was busy. I knew well enough, but I did not stir, tripping down the path. "Naughty little thing," she said. Bessie's presence with the thoughts over which I had been brooding seemed cheerful, even though, as usual, she was somewhat cross. The fact is, conflict within the over my rage, much for the nursemaid's transitory anger, youthful lightness of heart. I just put my 2 arms round her and said, "Come, Bessie," was habituated to indulge in somehow it pleased her. You are a strange child, Miss Jane, she said as she looked down at me, roving, solitary thing. And you are going to school, I nodded. Does Bessie care for me? Because you are such a queer, frightened little thing. What? Nonsense. But you are rather put upon. Certain. My mother said when she came to see me last week of bliss. Now come in, I don't think you have. Child, you mean, what sorrowful eyes you fix on me. Well, and the young ladies and Master John are going out to tea this afternoon, and you shall have tea with me, little gig. And then you shall help me to look over your drawers, for I am soon to pack your trunk in a day or two, Bissy. Well, I will. You are a very good girl. And don't be afraid of me. Start when I chance to speak rather sharply. Be afraid of you again, Bissy, because I have got used to you. As you do, I don't dislike you. West thing, you've got quite a new way of talking. Why, Simpy away from you had passed between me and Mize. Were it better to remain silent on that head? Not at all. Bessie, indeed. Just now. And rather. How coolly my little lady says it. Give it to me, I'll kiss. You and Morecambe stooped, we mutually embraced, and I followed her into the house quite comforted. That afternoon lapsed in peace and harmony. Me some of her most enchanting stories since, even for me life, had its gleams of sunshine. To be continued.